Dave, that's your cue.
Oh, we're live?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get this party started. So, as Ken would say, welcome back to Four for the Road, everybody. We've hyped this up. Everybody kind of knows what's going on. We're gonna do a live here. We got Big Sal from Fast Harleys Only. We got Miklo from MC4 Life, and then we've got his brother Blade from Fighting Demons Motorcycle Family. What we're going to do, and of course, No Shame and Professor Fourth the Road need no introduction. Just for everybody at home, what we're going to do, we're just going to kind of do round robin real quick, and we'll start with how the screen looks, no preference, and go around the room and kind of have everybody introduce themselves, who they are, what they represent, as much as their background as they want to give. With how the screen looks, no preference. We got some feedback coming in.
Got it.
There we go, cleaned up. And then once everybody introduces themselves, we'll kind of get started into the discussion format. We laid out some ground rules. This is going to be an hour-long show. We're going to try and keep it respectful. It'll at least be fair. Everybody's going to get an opportunity to speak. But with all that out of the way, let's get started. So if I'm looking at the computer screen, the first introduction that I have is No Shame.
Shit, I just put my microphone on mute so I could cough. So you get to hear it live. Hey, everybody that follows Four for the Road, you probably know me already. My name is No Shame. Been in the MC world since about 2015. Been writing on Four for the Road and Sucker Free for a while now. Came from a military family, was in the military myself. That's kind of how I got introduced to the MC life. There was a point back early 2000s where I was thinking about starting an MC on my own, and then got some guidance from a good friend who was already in a club, and decided that I was gonna wait it out and kind of take my time to learn the life a little bit more. Found the club that I really ultimately wanted to join, and started my journey there. And it's been a pretty good road ever since then. I had the opportunity to ride around the country, meet a lot of different folks, different people from different backgrounds, and get a good education in this life. Served in every position up to chapter president. Started my own chapters, things of that nature. So decent amount of experience. But I'm not blind to the fact that, there is a world out there of differing experiences and things that we can all do to get better. So come from a traditional club, a traditional background, but also kind of that younger generation that sees a future that might change and evolve a little bit. But that's me in a nutshell.
All right, and then from that, let's skip over to we'll go with Blade 1%er.
Yeah, what's going on, fellas? Blade 1%er, Fighting Demons MF.
Okay, short and sweet. I like it. Let's go with Professor Blade next.
All right, Professor Blade, and I've been around for a minute as well. Been in this world for, we're coming up to 20 years in this world. Not necessarily with the club I'm in right now. I spend a lot of time as an independent. Served in military overseas across the pond. I think I'm an example of the diversity within this world, within this life, because my background is not typical, but I definitely believe in traditions. I am part of a traditional club that's been around for a very long time. And as it was mentioned beforehand, I did write on Sucker Free MC as well, and we came over here. And so this is kind of where this all started. So I look forward to a discussion right now and seeing where this goes.
Well, we'll move on to Big Sal here in a second, but I just want to say Professor Blade is you're being a little bit modest. You were, for lack of a better term, influential on Sucker Free MC and building I think what a lot of us have come after comes off of what you built there. And so I think, it's a fun, if that's the right word, that's probably not the right word, but it's an honor to learn from you day in and day out. And with that said, let's go over to Big Sal.
Big Sal FHO's HNIC. You guys had a question earlier about what does HNIC stands for, Head Negro in Charge. Basically meaning that my organization is ran where everybody has a say-so I believe that the bike set has evolved into a whole different realm. No longer will it last with the traditional protocol, with the traditional ways. You have a different with the emergence of social media, and the emergence of everybody understanding that they're grown now, especially in today's time. It's hard to tell anybody what to do or how to do it, but the respect is the most important thing for me. I've been doing this for a long, long time. I probably have, with no disrespect to anybody on here, and probably besides Blade, 1%er, I probably got more miles on the ground than all of you guys put together. So that's just no shade intended, but that's just what I do. I ride, I'm there, I show up, the whole 9 yards, and it's my honor to be here. This is my first time meeting most of you guys, so I'm here to support my man Miklo, and see what we can come up with.
All right, and then let's go over to Miklo.
What's up? I'm Miklo 1%er, founder and mother chapter president, Los Perros MC. I've been writing on MC for Life for several years now. I used to write for Black Dragon on a page called MC Talk TV. We wrote there for a few years. Before me and my brother Mikey 1%er split off and started MC for Life. And, Mikey 1%er, he's the co-founder of Los Perros MC. And, yeah, man, we've been building this thing together for the past several years now, MC for Life and Los Perros MC. So glad to be here, man.
All right, and so then with that, I'll go, and then I'll kind of kick us off into the question and answer kind of format. So if anybody doesn't know, I'm Dave from Four for the Road. I am not in a club. I am kind of the nerd of the group. I'm the history buff. I do most of my stuff on two areas. I kind of talk about the history, and I kind of talk about why you don't need to be in a club. That's kind of become my angle here at Four for the Road, for all the great shit that the guys put out, the Silence, the Blades, the No Shames. I'm kind of the antagonist to that, saying, do you really need to be in a club today? That's kind of morphed into my role. I'm also a veteran, like No Shame alluded to. Been doing Four for the Road since we started, which is 3 years ago. Before that, I was able to kind of learn and have some awesome conversations with people like Professor and some of the other folks over at Sucker Free MC. And we started the podcast, and it's just been a good time getting to travel, getting to meet different dudes, getting to learn from different clubs. Even if I've stepped away from the motorcycle club being in one, still getting a chance to have these connections all over the country. Unfortunately, I don't ride as much as Big Cell, but hopefully you guys will let me be here anyway. And with that, let's kind of kick it off with the reason that we're here, kind of the basic premise of the show, and I guess to give the viewers the 428 people, we've never had 428 people watching anything we've ever done. So thank you guys for coming on and giving us that viewership. But to kind of kick it off, the premise here is we've butted heads with Miklo. And I want to state real quick that the butting of the heads is not the MC for Life page. I said it earlier. I think there's some good content that comes out on MC for Life. So this is not a hit piece on that page or anybody that contributes to it. I think that a free flow of ideas, a back and forth of best practices, of learning from people in different areas, different cultures, different avenues is a great thing. It's a great endeavor. If you've listened to any of our podcasts before, I always say that social media is a great tool if used appropriately, and it's not going away. So as bikers, as club guys, as just people that love the culture, we should definitely learn how to use it to our advantage and control the narrative with bikers. With that said, my complaint with and again, this is not MC for Life. This is Miklo, is the glossed over history that you give up, the incorrect history that you put out as facts. And, really kind of what started this is you've posted incorrect things before that we've tried to address. And you take great offense to being corrected, which is fine. We all probably have a little bit of an ego. But for me personally, the reason I came to this table, and No Shame and Professor, and of course all of you will get to have your say, my take here is that I found it I found it disgusting the way that you would post history that was wildly incorrect, wildly inaccurate. And when told you were incorrect, you kind of want to tell us to go fuck ourselves. So with that, that's why I'm here. That's why we're here. You'll get a chance to respond to that. I certainly have some examples that I'll lay out a little bit later on. But I guess, since it's our format, I'll kick it over to No Shame, and No Shame can kind of say why he's here.
Yeah, for me, I think the first instance of interaction, first time Miklo ever popped up on my radar, is when MC for Life started. And to his credit, I mean, there was a lot of ideas on there and a lot of things he was saying that they were thought provoking. And I don't necessarily turn something off because it's different. But the turn off for me was really like Dave was saying. When you take Dave and people like Drifter, who I put up against like pretty much any MC historian, and this is like talking about facts and verifiable things in the MC world. We've said things that go against common narrative before, but when we do that, we bring the receipts. So having seen them done that so often and having seen the research that they do, there were interactions on your page where they brought receipts forward and then said, this is not what actually happened. Would you address it? And I didn't particularly care for the response that came back from it. But I kind of ignored it. I think I made one video alluding to you on TikTok as a joke one time, and then that kind of went away. Didn't really think about it for a while. The thing that drug me back into it was a 4 for the Feds comment. And I know you had stated that was in response to other people that may or may not be associated with the page commenting on one of your videos. I didn't see that. All I saw was this 4 for the Feds comment. So I made a response video to that. And that's kind of how we got into our interaction, which was, me seeing, okay, somebody has something to say about me, I'm going to respond to it. My problem with that statement is, in this world, somebody who claims to be educated by traditional MC members, you should know that calling somebody a Fed without receipts is a pretty big deal. So that's how I take offense. That's really about the only things. And yeah, that's my time. On to the next.
And like I said, we're going to kind of state our stuff and then obviously give Big Cell, give Miklo, and give Blade. I'm going to call you Blade number 2. We'll give we'll give their Blade a chance to respond after we kind of lay out our stuff. So Professor, we'll let you go next.
All right. You may or may not remember, but we had some conversations back in Sucker Free MC days. And for me, I am not a big proponent of anonymous feedback. I do not like being called terms like culture vulture, and I took offense with 4 for the Feds because in this world, as it's been said numerous times, you have to have receipts. You can't just throw out names without expecting consequences. You can't just throw out names without backing it up. And it's okay to disagree. And, we disagree with people, but we always bring the facts. We always bring the facts. And, how we got here, I think, is because you guys took a step back and actually listened to some of the things that we were saying. I'm not a big fan of social media. I mean, I'm one of the older guys here, so I'm older than you think. So it's like, so I didn't grow up with social media. I didn't grow up with cell phones and all that kind of stuff. So I am still getting used to all this stuff, even now, even though I do use them. But when certain things are said, I'm thinking like you say that sort of thing face to face, then there'll be a different kind of discussion. So, coming from a traditional MC where, what I think we did things the right way when we came up, me knowing the history, and, my first degree was in history. So, I do not believe that the clubs, the old clubs, the 50, 60-year-old clubs are pop-up clubs, because the term pop-up didn't exist back then because those things did not exist. So I think that we are talking about apples and chickens. We're not even talking about the same thing here. So those are the things that I basically disagree with. And I'm curious to see how you're going to defend that.
So, and now let's kick it over to you guys. You guys can say kind of what brought you to the table. I'll let Miklo kind of dictate who talks, him, Big Cell, Blade. But yeah, y'all tell us what brought y'all here.
Yeah, I would definitely like to start. If possible, I'll try to keep it in 2 minutes. I think the biggest problem that you're going to face on a page like Four for the Road, I don't even know how many of you guys there are. Like,
there's 11 of us.
There's 11 of you. Okay, so every one of those 11 people gets the label Four for the Road. So when you've got 11 people under one name, it's just like a club, man. When one person does something, it's Four for the Road doing it, right? So that's how it turns into Miklo against Four for the Road, is one person's over here doing this. Dude, I don't know if you know this. I've been going back and forth with Four for the Road for years, and there's been some very underhanded things that have been done from time to time.
Like what?
There was the thing where somebody claimed that they saw a Virginia license plate where I was here. I'm in Mexico right now. I missed a funeral of a very dear brother of mine back in 2021, a day after he asked me to write an article for him. He was killed. And I couldn't make it to his funeral because I was here in Mexico. Somebody from Four for the Road told somebody in the club that I was lying about being in Mexico, and I just didn't want to go to the funeral. I had to produce plane tickets, photographs, all kind of stuff showing that I was in Mexico. That's just one of multiple things that have happened over the years. So I get where you guys are coming from. Where
that seems like a pretty easy thing to
hold on.
prove that.
Dave. Give him his time to talk.
But I mean, if we got receipts, I would have posted that.
Give him his time to talk.
Well, that's what I'm saying here is, like, it might not have had anything to do with you personally, and it all ends up falling under the name Four for the Road, unfortunately. And that's the part that sucks. And it sucked from day one because guys like Blade, Professor Blade, I know I just get some of his articles. Road Dirt, I think very highly of him, you know what I mean? And it's unfortunate. And I guess I should have taken more time to get to know each individual person so that I could go one-on-one with these people. But I mean, it's like with a club, man. When somebody from your club is out there running amok, unfortunately, it's your club's name that falls under the drag through the mud, So that's where that came from. And as far as the history, I'll give you one example, man. You guys went on me pretty hard about this thing about Life magazine or something saying that the 1% came in the mid 60s. Well, there's a club in San Francisco that has a diamond going back to 1957. And that is in their clubhouse that I got from them directly. So, I mean, there are times where you might think you're 1,000% accurate and you may not be. You know what I mean? So that, there's the point is it's not always going to be so cut and dry, man. When you're dealing with 11 people under one label, all kind of shit like this can happen, and I mean, history, like I just said, there's an instance right there where you guys were dead sure that you were right.
Hey, I don't want to cut you off, Miklo, but we did give you another 30 seconds because you were interrupted. But
yep.
Let's let everybody get their chance, and then we can go into this a little further later.
Yep. Who's next? Big Sal?
Go ahead, Big Sal. You got it. Not hearing him.
Hey, Big Sal, I can't hear you.
I think you're muted.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Well, I'm getting updated on all this whole conversation y'all talking about. But as far as Miklo's concerned, everything else, he's been one of the only clubs out there that wants to do the history and do it correctly. As far as getting his blessings and protocol and all that stuff, yeah, I show respect to the main club in the area. I went to him, talked with him, sat down with him. Now, I'm not going to call him dominant because they ain't dominant over me. They respect it. It was a good meeting, but I'm going to do me regardless. So, and in our creed, it says we're not looking for acceptance nor approval. So that's regardless. If y'all are looking for that, look somewhere else. It ain't happening here.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yep.
Okay. I'm sorry, Blake, were you done, OG?
I'm good.
So for me, like I said, what I'm hearing is a lot of trying to prove who's right and who's wrong. And for me, at the end of the day, history, I've been taught history one way, did my own research, found out history another way. I don't really think that that's really the problem that I was told that we were even here for. It's Miklo is a 1%er. He says he's a 1%er until somebody takes his cuts and tell him he's not a 1%er. I mean, nobody as a 1%er gets permission to be a 1%er. You understand what I'm saying? Nobody can validate any 1%er. If you're a true 1%er, you said that, you repped it, and it just is what it is. So as far as proving if he is a 1%er or not, I would say he's a 1%er. He walks around, he wears the diamond, he's visible, the whole night, just like whoever you guys say you are. Nobody can attest to who you are, who you're not. Just like with me, I choose not to wear the diamond, me and my organization, but we conduct ourselves as diamond holders as far as being men. So not in the terms of whatever a diamond holder is supposed to be. I'm just saying as men, we conduct ourselves as men and women, because I'm not an MC or SC or none of that. I'm just Fast Harleys only, with about 40 followers. So that's just how I feel about it as far as that, this getting permission to exist and this having to have this blessing or whatever it is that they got, what they call it nowadays, to me is ridiculous. So that's just my stand on it.
Yes, sir.
All right, let me go into a couple of things here. Four for the Road has never, ever said they've been a club, not once. Now, if you have, I would like you to tell us who on Four for the Road said what you just said. Who said it? I believe in receipts. If somebody said something, because that's not something we would write, because that's not the sort of articles we would write. The Sucker Free page was something very different. So, who said that? That's my first thing. Blade 1%er. Okay, quite frankly, we know nothing about you. So,
that's right.
We've seen the pictures that.
Ask away.
Yeah, you said you've seen the pictures with you and Miklo and all that kind of stuff. You said you've had conversations. Yes, we've got a chapter up where you are at. We don't know anything about you. So, you got introduced to this last minute. Welcome to the party. Excel. We've said this time and time again. We don't believe 1%er is about just being a man. 1%er is a club designation. You can't claim a 1%er diamond unless you're part of a club, hands down. When you leave that club, you hand in your diamond. So conducting yourself as a man has got nothing to, we're talking about clubs versus conducting yourself as a man. So these are part of the things that we are been discussing. So I get what you're saying, you believe a certain thing, but coming from a traditional old club, we kind of believe differently. That's my point.
And you're entitled to that. You're entitled to your beliefs as far as that go. But what I'm saying is, my take on it is this: is that there is no right or wrong on how you see doing your diamond status or whatever it is. What I'm saying is, from what I now, if this wasn't said, then maybe I heard it wrong. But what you guys are saying is that, and even in the comments, they're saying, yes, as a diamond holder, you have to be given permission to rock a diamond. And I've never heard that.
We didn't say that.
Well, hang on. Let's simplify this, and let's kick that out the window.
Okay.
Let's say you don't have to ask permission. Okay, fine. That's a whole different debate. That's a whole different debate. Well, hang on. You can't agree with that because you just told me 10 minutes ago that you went to your local dominant and asked. So either you don't ask or you do.
To show respect to the main club that's been around here for centuries.
Oh, so you did ask. So you did ask to get blessed.
No, I did not ask to get blessed. I told him what I planned on doing.
Okay, all right, fine. Let's just toss the blessing thing out the window. And let's go with Big Sal's point that you don't have to ask to get blessed. That's fine. That's totally fine. We'll go with that. So the first question would be, number one, why not just start a new club, run that new club for 5-10 years, whatever. Figure out what you're all about as a club, what you represent, what you're doing. Why go straight to the diamond? Why go straight to the 1%? Now, hang on. I'm not done. Hang on. So the second part to that is, especially for Miklo, you post about all of these clubs and how legendary they are and how great they are. Yet in your book definition, you say that 1%ers have lost their way. Which is it? Are they legendary and great, or have they lost their way? If they're, hang on, I'm not done. If they're legendary and great, why not prospect for that club? But you did it. You started your own club. Then you decided that 1%ers had lost their way, but you'd already started the club. If they're so legendary and great, we'll prospect for them.
Can I speak yet? All right, here's the deal. In every article I've ever written and in every page of my book, that's a problem. You can't twist and put words in people's mouths. I have always said there are some 1% clubs out there. I always use that word, some. I've never, ever once thrown a blanket term and said all 1%ers have lost their way, ever, not once. And they have, and there's a thing. There's a lot of people out there that wear a 1% patch that I would not consider 1%ers. A lot of them, and they might be part of a 50-year-old club. That doesn't make them a 1%er in my eyes. If you're a true 1%er, you're a true 1%er. It doesn't matter. The man makes the patch. The patch doesn't make the man. You know, that's the way I see that.
Real quick. So I'm sorry, we got to raise our hand. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, two things. You didn't answer the question about who on Four for the Road said that. And you threw out a cliche about the man makes the patch doesn't make the man. You're going to have to, you're saying there's 50-year-old clubs out there that rock a diamond that aren't true diamond clubs. That's
I didn't say clubs. I said people.
Well, hang on. Right here on your book. Hang on. Right here on your book, it says Miklo set out to bring the 1% MC world back to being the glorious culture it once was, the only way he knew how.
Yes.
Through his writing. If you say the 1% MC culture, that sounds kind of wicked.
Well, the culture is.
Let me finish my point here.
Okay.
I just said it a couple times. I'm going to say it a third time. I do not believe the 1%er is an individual. It is a club designation.
Correct.
It is not an individual who can go and claim to be a 1%er.
I agree.
So you're talking about
recognize regroup.
Yeah.
Well,
individuals doesn't. We're not talking about individuals.
Okay. So can I clarify? Can I respond? Okay. So, yes, I agree. To be a 1%er, you should be in a 1% motorcycle club. There's no such thing as a lone wolf 1%. I do agree with that. But to comport yourself as a 1%er, you should, there's people out there that are in these clubs, and I'm not talking about the entire clubs, but there are people in about every club out there, just about, that I would not consider to be a righteous 1%er. And I think anybody with a pair of eyes can see that there are assholes in a lot of different clubs out there. Just because they're wearing some patch, that doesn't automatically make them, Mr. fucking super 1%er. That, man, listen, we've been offered patch for patch by clubs that would be on the list of cool 50-year-old clubs, whatever, and we turned it down because we felt that just patch for patch wasn't the honorable thing to do. So if we would have just taken that patch for patch, that would put us on the list of cool clubs, and then we'd be 1%ers according to these other people, and we're wrong because we turned it down. You know what I mean? That's hypocritical to me. And as far as the cliche, I don't care if it's a cliche or not. It's the truth. A man makes the patch don't make the man.
So let me ask you guys this, because according to Professor Blade, you saying one person can't be a 1%er. One person can't claim a 1%er. Is that saying that in order to be MC you have to have 5, 7, or 9 a minimum, or are you saying that because if I choose as the only person if I just choose to create a vest and put a diamond on and say that I'm a 1%er, again, who's to say that I can't do that?
Right.
Doing it
You can.
and being right are two different things.
Wow, I got to watch for it.
Doing it and being right are two different things. Anyone can create a vest and put a diamond on. Doesn't make you what you want. You know, that's like somebody putting a police uniform on and saying the police when they didn't go through, they didn't go through the academy. And back to it, Miklo, you still haven't told us who on Four for the Road said what you said happened.
So
You said there was
okay.
11 people that said something. How are you gonna know them all?
Yeah, exactly.
Because
I
we
don't
keep
know.
It's
I
He
really
said that there was
easy-
11 of them and he didn't know who all they were. How is he gonna know which exactly one that did it?
It's very easy to look it up.
Well, how?
Look, look. Miklo makes a fair point in that. However, we do tend to try and sign everything we do. Now, that's not to say that it happens every time. We do make an attempt to sign our comments, but sure, there's been times where it has happened. So let's give you the benefit of the doubt on that. You lumped Four for the Road into one thing. Like, I don't really think that's even the issue here, right? Like, can we get past that? Because I can forgive you for saying Four for the Feds because you thought I was somebody else. Cool. Can everybody agree to yeah, I don't care, dude. The TikTok thing, that's fun and games for me. That's I know you have differing opinions, but it is what it is. I took it as, hey, this guy's coming and talking a little shit to me. Let me talk some shit back to him. Whatever. I'm not upset about it at that fucking level. Whatever. You thought I was somebody else. Okay. Can we move on from that point? Because I think there's been a lot of things that were addressed here, and I've raised my hand and put next in the chat a couple fucking times. So does anybody mind if I start my 2 minutes over to address something real?
Go for it.
Any
Hey.
objections to that?
Right ahead.
Okay. One of the things that we're talking about right now is why somebody as an individual can't put on a 1% diamond and be a 1%er. And that's not to say you can't put the 1% diamond on. You put it on all day you want. You are still not recognized as that. There comes a point in everybody's familiar with the phrase real, recognize real. There's a piece of being a 1%er that goes beyond wearing the patch. To me, I agree. I think the patch is a little bit watered down. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry puts the fucking patch on. So yeah, when you say the man makes the patch, it's absolutely right. But the club also makes the patch. Okay, you can't go in and just okay, I took some fucking weapons training courses and I bought a fucking magazine and some fucking fancy firearms and now I'm special forces. That doesn't work. The community has to recognize you. And look, I understand you're going through a process where you're trying to build the reputation of your club. To me, I see that as a little bit backwards, because when you look at what is a 1%er, you're supposed to be that pinnacle of what the brotherhood of an MC is. One of the things Big Cell talked about on a video that he put out was what is the purpose of a 1%er today? Okay. One of the things he alluded to that doesn't happen anymore in some places is the 1% MC regulating that area and into the goal of ensuring that there isn't conflict. Okay. It's not about coming in there and bullying people and all this dumb shit. 100% agree with you guys on that. That's not my message. It's never been my message. It's never been the message of this page. Okay. What we're talking about is how people are supposed to do things correctly. And I agree with what Big Cell was saying in that video that he put out, that the 1%ers are supposed to be there mentoring and being that guide. All right. But how are you supposed to be that guide to people if you did not receive guidance yourself, if you're kind of just winging it? And so part of it to me is look at when, I see you're reacting and I'll give you a chance. I know I'm being long-winded here, so I apologize for that. But there has to be a point where you have some kind of guidance to bring the past, the real past, because I feel like there's a romanticized version of what you think the past was. And I would and that's my question I'm going to pose to you is, what do you think a traditional 1%er is? And what do you think a traditional club is? Because until we establish that baseline, we can't even continue this conversation any further. So I'd like to turn it over to you guys to specifically answer those questions.
Can I speak?
I think we should let Blade speak because he seems to have something to say.
All right.
Well, I just think it's kind of funny and everything else that we have to go to a certain channels to be recognized, as you're saying, to push the message of brotherhood and motorcycles and freedom. That I think you're totally wrong. We don't need no about okay from anybody in the state. I've been here 6 years in this state, and I went through multiple 1% clubs, and I'm still here. I've had tags on me. I've had people wanting at me. People like what I say, what I stand for. Never going to change, whether I got a blessing and acceptance or not. I don't care if they recognize me or not. I am what I am, and I'm going to fucking ride down the road. I don't claim territory. I claim my land that I own and where the rubber's on the road. You respect me, I respect you. You cross that line, there won't be a line for me. Period.
Yeah.
So why do you need the diamond for that? You can do that without the diamond.
I don't need the diamond for that. I actually, as y'all know, I don't know what your name is or whatever, Shane or whatever the hell your name. You posted on there about the 3%er. You're right. I was a 3%er. I got a 3%er tattooed on my back. That's other brothers that I can call from another family. That's, as well, y'all should know, is very huge. The difference between the 3% and 1%, 3% has a line that they won't cross. I do not.
Okay. 3% has got nothing to do with MC World. And you just said
Exactly, they don't. But I ride bikes my whole life, and the 3% is the part of the political and over with this whole society and political and the one-way laws they have. And then I had brothers come to me.
Let's let Miklo answer. Let's let Miklo answer. Let's let Miklo answer.
Can I?
Let's do it.
All right. Now, here's the deal. You said, why do we need a 1% patch? It's a patch that we believe in and we live by all day, every day. It is over our hearts, on our vest. That's where we wear it because it's everything we believe in. Now, you know, Shane, we're talking about being recognized by the community and all that stuff. And personally, I think that that's one of the biggest problems out there nowadays is everybody's trying to shove their beliefs down each other's throats, when to us what it means to be a 1%er is hanging with your brothers and operating as a family, being there for each other. We don't want to go to the fucking bike night, whatever. We would rather be down, you know, throwing our own party, doing our own thing. National boss of a club one time told me, Miklo, all I want to do is party with my brothers. Another club might be partying across the street. I might go out there and shake their hand and wish them well. But after that, I'm coming back over here to party with my brothers. And that's how we operate. You know, that's what it means to be a true 1%er to us. And I was mentored. I have been mentored by true 1%ers for a long time. Old school guys that have been doing this for years and years. And I do agree with you. I don't think any Joe Schmo should be throwing on a 1% patch. But it's not my place to go policing who wears them either. You know? So that's the way I feel about that. I don't know if I answered all your questions, if I forgot one of them along the way, but
well, my take on it. When we talk about what is a traditional MC or what is a traditional 1%er, can we really ever categorize that based on? I think Blade would probably be the only one that can give that, being a true 1%er as long as he's been. But when I speak on the times of today's 1%er from a black side, not from a white side, from a black side, the side that I'm on, it's just there is no consistency. There is no standard across the board. The rules change per individual, per club, per area, you know, per whatever. The rules change, and I've seen situations where this 1% organization says, no, y'all can't do this, but then they go to another organization right around the corner and they say, yeah, you can do that. So it's just in where I'm from, there's a state of confusion. Now, I will say this, across the board for me, and I'm going to name drop because I can, across the board for me, the Soul Brothers, as far as 1%ers go, have been the most consistent with who they are as far as 1%ers. They don't get into your business. They don't do anything. And you can actually go around them, be taught, feel comfortable, and sit down and have a drink and not have to worry about, if I cross my legs the wrong way, did I look at this person too long? I mean, it's just ridiculous out here. But to answer the question, I don't think we can ever understand or get back to what traditional emceeing is, because the narrative has been changed so many times.
All right, I'm going to take an opportunity to respond to that. So one of the things that you said, Miklo, was that one of these national bosses, he was talking about spending time with his brothers and preferring that. I can tell you across the board, without knowing every 1%er in a respected club, I can tell you they all feel the exact same fucking way. If you look at all these big nations and all these fucking guys, nobody wants to go hang around, do the fucking bullshit, but there is a responsibility to that. And like going back to what Big Cell was saying, look, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. And that's not just on the black side. If you see on both sides of the set, there are areas and you're going to find pockets of the country where things are wrong. And if you guys took a chance to look at what Four for the Road talks about, we address a lot of that shit. We call out a lot of the bullshit that happens around the country and call for a change in the community to be better. All right. When we're talking about like what is a traditional 1%er, well, real fucking quickly, the history piece that you put out with the Time Magazine thing, here's what was being corrected on that. The Time Magazine article never happened. It doesn't exist. There is no quote from the AMA saying 1%ers, blah, blah, blah. That quote about 1%ers, the first time it's ever brought up, was brought up in reference to Tecate, Mexico, with police chief fucking Jose Huerta. Am I right about that, Dave? Give me a nod, yes or no? Okay. The clubs that were involved there came back to California and started the 1%ers. It was an organization made up of clubs that were considered 1%ers. It was an organization of organizations. Now, that is not what 1%er is today. That shit has all gone through evolutions and changes. And over time, it has become different things throughout different periods of history. And it has gotten to a point now where shit is getting a little bit off the fucking rails. And what we're seeing is that there's shit like people starting random 1% clubs without knowing that full history and the responsibility to the community that is leading it to also go off the rails. There's a bunch of other things. There's things that major 1% clubs did to fuck this community up. Don't get it fucking twisted. Look up some of my articles. I call all that shit out. But that's not to say that the righteous road is not to go fix what is currently broken versus aiding to the problem of continuing to break it.
That Tecate thing, man, I know that story and everything, but I don't think that's the first time that it was mentioned, because that Tecate thing was 60s, and the history that I was given was 1957, Frank Sadilek. 1957.
Can I tell you? Can I give you a rebuttal to that, because that gets brought up a lot? That look at the document that you're referencing. The document that you're referencing does not have a date on it. It was pulled out of a historical archive, and the people that put it out said, this is when we did this. There's no set of like notes or anything that says 1957. So I'm not trying to throw shade at any club. But if I thought I was the biggest swinging dick, wouldn't I want to be the first? So like, if I could put any date on anything, wouldn't I want to be the first?
I get that.
So hang on, my turn.
Go.
Since my whole lane is here, I'm not a 1%er. I'm going to be honest. I don't give a shit about this 1% discussion. So whatever, like, I think Big Sal has some good points. Professor has some good points. There's good points all around. I don't give a shit. I'm not a 1%er. That's not my lane. That's not my topic. The two things that I've said that I took offense to or umbrage or whatever you want to say is the way that you praise some of these people that live in your very area, but then chose to ignore them and not join their clubs. But that's a different discussion. History, specifically history. You put out the other day about the 1%er, about Hollister, and you gave such a glossed over version. And it really, you kind of talk in these ambiguity, you kind of do this double speak where you say, according to what I was told, which leaves you a back door that if you're wrong later on, you can just say, well, according to what I was told. You can research this stuff and then instead of just what you were told. But I'm not done. So what I want to say is, first of all, you talk about Hollister and you talk about the use of the motorcycles. That's great. There's a lot of truth in that. You were good on that. Just a quick clarification from your post. The motorcycle in World War I was actually used more in combat than it was in World War II. There was more production motorcycles used in World War II, which is why there was a higher surplus when vets came back and things like that. But as far as seeing combat on a motorcycle, it was kind of phased out by World War II. They're mostly military police and dispatch riders. There's about 90,000 Harleys used, and I think maybe 30,000 Indians in World War II. But anyway, and so a lot of guys came back and they decided that they want to stay in California. They're going to get these surplus motorcycles. They're going to work for Hollywood because Hollywood would pay them. You could run scripts, you could run contracts, you could run all this stuff back and forth on a motorcycle to these different studios and get paid for it. So I had some notes here. So, you were right. They were rowdy. They came back. They just survived war. They've got these surplus motorcycles. They don't want to be a part of the AMA and all this stuff. But here's where you kind of get it wrong. And anytime we've tried to correct you before, you come with an attitude, which is why I'm here. So you mentioned the SCOF, the Southern California Outlaw Federation, but you said it started after World War II. That's false. It started in 1936 1937. Don't quote me. There's an article somewhere on it. But there's some really historical clubs that you don't give credit to for being a part of the scuff. I mean, the Moonshiners are one of them. I mean, if you haven't had a chance to look up the history of the Moonshiners, please, by all means, do it. And then you mentioned that these guys, they kind of went to Hollister. They didn't want to be involved in this AMA stuff, and they were kind of over it. That's not true. They went to the AMA race in Hollister in 1947. It was the first Gypsy tour post World War II. It was put on by the Salinas Ramblers. The Salinas Ramblers were an AMA club. They had held these events in Hollister pre I forget the name of the racetrack. It's something with a B. So I'm sure somebody in the comments will tell us what it was. But they held these events pre-World War II. They usually had about 2,500 to 3,000 participants. That's what they planned for in 1947 in Hollister. What they got was 10,000 rowdy-ass veterans coming back that wanted to watch these races. They simply didn't have the infrastructure. So guys take to racing in the streets. They take to doing some crazy antics. The barkeeps are making tons of money and all this stuff. It wasn't a fuck you to the AMA. It wasn't a rebellion to the AMA. It was simple logistics. They didn't have the infrastructure to support 10,000 returning folks to the first post-World War II Gypsy rally, Gypsy tour that they held in Hollister. That's the entire, again, I'm kind of glossing over now, but that in a nutshell is kind of how Hollister, the riots, happened. Then, of course, like you talk about in your article, you have the Time Life article that comes out. You have the famous picture. You know, you've got the things that go on from that. You've got the Riverside riots. Then you've got the Tecate thing. Then you've got, the actual, to No Shame's point, the actual first time we see it in publication, not the first time clubs talk about it. The first time you see it in publication is an AMA article that goes out to dealers talking about the 1% of motorcycles that they kind of want to keep off of their showroom floor and stuff like that. So again, if you would take the criticism of the history, I probably wouldn't even be in this chat because, like I said, no offense to anybody here that is one. I don't give a shit about the 1% argument. I give a shit about.
We're going to give you.
We try to correct you on history stuff. That's why I'm here.
We're going to give Miklo some XX time to address all that stuff.
Let me make 3 final points and let's let Miklo. Okay.
Okay, sure. Blade to make a point, and then Miklo, you can have like as long as you fucking want, dude.
That's fair. That's fair.
Respect to the Soul Brothers. It took him almost 50 years to put the 1% diamond on. Okay, so took him a long time to put that diamond on, and so that tells you something about them. Now, as far as what makes a 1% club, I think one of the things is age. Now, am I the expert on this? Can anyone claim to be experts in this? No, but standing the test of time.
Not an expert, definitely not.
Standing the test of time is the first thing. Okay, if all you want to do is hang with your brothers, you don't want to be part of the community and all that, take out the diamond. You don't need the diamond for that. You can be, you can have brotherhood. You can have. That's one of the things that I hear when people ask for advice all the time. You don't need a club for that. You don't need a diamond for that. You can do that without that diamond. It's really that simple.
Well, see, this whole point was
Still talking.
It said
Still
something
talking.
about is
Still
Miklo's
talking.
legitimate.
Still talking.
What?
Damn it.
Still talking.
What?
Okay.
Make a point
Still
then.
talking. Okay. Last but not least, it's like we said this time and time again. The community has to recognize you. If you're going out there talking about the community, about being righteous and this and that, but the community doesn't know you, I mean, what does that say? The community has to recognize you. They don't have to like you,
They do here.
have to bless you, but they do have to recognize you. It's like a lot of clubs don't get along, but you still recognize you. It's like, I see you, don't like you, but I see you. So
And they have done that here.
you can have as much time as you want.
They've done it here.
Well, I completely disagree that anybody has to recognize you. Kind of the whole point behind building an outlaw club, a 1% club, as I was taught, is to separate yourself from all outside entities trying to impose their will upon you. And that was the AMA, society, politicians, everybody. That's the whole point. We create our own rules, and that's what we live by. Me and my brothers together, under whatever system we deem fit, we come up with our rules, and that's our government. We're not Democrats, we're not Republicans, we are perils. That's our government, that's our everything. That's our church, That's the whole point of a club like this, is to separate yourself from all outside entities trying to impose their will upon you. And as far as you don't need a diamond for this, you don't need this, you don't need that, it's not about what you need. It's about what you believe in with all your heart and are willing to live and die for. And if you believe in something with all your heart and are willing to live and die by it, then why would you not proudly wear it on your chest, you know? And as far as the history, the little specifics here and there and stuff, I mean, look, man, as far as, I don't know if somebody was back then fucking carrying a little notebook in their pocket along the way or something, but I know a lot of 50 plus year 1%ers. And that's where I get most of my information from, is these guys that have been in a club for over 40, 50 years that are telling me these stories. That's where I get it from. So, you know, I don't know about the whole, you know, little technicalities here and there. I'm going off of what I'm told by guys that were in these clubs during these time periods. As far as the moonshiners and the scoff was in 36 instead of 37 and all that stuff, I mean, that's great and everything, but it doesn't take away from the point of the article, which was that the two sides of the argument, I mean, a blind man could see which side is correct, man. One side is trying to say that we all need to be one big bound system where we're a community and we all have to fucking deal with each other and shove our beliefs down each other's throats, and we all have to get each other's approval, and you have to go to the dominant, and there's 20 dominants in every state. Every one of them has a different thing that they're saying. You got to pick one, and then you'll be on the list of cool clubs when they give you a blessing. And then our side is what we've been taught by these old school 1%ers from these big old clubs that says, you know, that's what this is supposed to be about, is standing up for your beliefs. I'll tell you a story, little story, man. There was a meeting held about my club in my state.
What happened?
He froze. Give him a second.
Oh shit!
Looks like we lost him.
We'll bring him back in when he.
Yeah, he'll get a chance to pick up when he comes back.
Blade, 1%ers.
Yes, sir.
There, from said fighting.
Oh, I think he's back. Hold on.
Fighting something.
Hey,
Yeah.
let's let
Fighting
Miklo
demons.
finish
Yeah.
his thought.
Okay, let
Hang on, let's let Miklo finish.
Well, what I was saying is that there was a meeting held on, and my club was the subject of the meeting. And a young member of the club said, why does Miklo have to do it the wrong way? Why can't they just do it the right way? And a 35-year member stood up in the meeting, and I got this from several people that were there, including the man that said it. He said, why is it the wrong way? Because Miklo's standing up for what he believes in. Well, guess what? That's what this club was built on too. And don't you forget it. You know, so I mean, I think that's what I'm talking about when I say that the culture has lost its way. Is there's a huge amount of people that came into this culture from Sons of Anarchy or who knows what, that have this twisted idea of what this culture is supposed to be about. And, you know, that's why I feel the culture has lost its way. 1%ers asking for permission, you know, I mean, like that, it's just ass backwards, in my opinion. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think that any Joe Schmo should be throwing on a 1% patch. And like I said, it's not up to me to go out there policing everybody else's patches. What's up to me is to serve my patch. I serve my brothers. I serve my patch in my club. That's all I'm worried about. I'm not going out there saying, oh, did you get a blessing from so-and-so? Are you wearing that patch the right way? That's not up to me. The only patches I can control is my club's patches, you know? So that's my point on there. What happened to Big Sal?
So that's a good point. Like, again, I'm not in a club, so what do I care what you wear? I don't. But I want to go back to a statement that you made. Regardless of club stuff, regardless of percentages, none of that matters to me because I'm not in that lane. I don't give a shit. I care about authenticity, and I care about history, and I care about passing it on correctly. So when you made the misstatement about who care, you know, this is what I was told about people that are 30, 40, 50-year members, 60-year clubs. Hollister was almost 80 years ago. They weren't there for that. So you know what matters? Newspaper articles, police reports, you know, magazine articles, all dealer reports, AMA registries matter. You can go to these things that are hard facts that aren't me saying, well, somebody told me this story and they're in a really good club and they've been around for a long time and all that. That's a cop-out. And if you want to say that you're here to make the culture better and you're actually making statements that these little details of history don't matter, and the way that you disrespectfully say the scoff or the moonshiner's name, you should be embarrassed. That's an embarrassment. Those facts of history 100% matter, because you know what happens if they don't matter? People pass off bullshit, and then the clubs that come after us, these people that are going to pick up these people that are going to come into your club after you and promote how great your club is, are going to have an incorrect concept of the history of where they came from. Motorcycle clubs have been around since 1900. That's 123 years.
Wrote it down makes it a sure thing.
1903 was the first bike, so you're off a little bit there.
No, the first motorcycle club was in England in 1900. I promise you, you don't want to go down that road with me. I promise you. You can have your patches.
I can go down any road with you, brother. I go any road.
You don't want to go down. You don't want to go down.
The whole reason about this 1%. Y'all asked about the 1%. Why I got to wear a diamond? Because I gave my fucking life to this. This is what I believe in. So I'm going to go with.
I didn't ask about the diamond. I don't care about that. I'm talking about the facts.
I'm not talking about you. That's what I'm saying. You don't give a shit about that. So why speak on it?
I'm not. I'm talking about history.
You weren't there, Dave.
Yeah, I was talking actually going back over here to the actual writer, not the
going off of somebody else's written down account.
See, and this is what I'm talking about. This is the part I'm talking about. Okay.
So hang on. So the oral account from somebody. Hang on. The oral.
This is the part I'm talking about. You can't just wank in the air and then expect, to say that it's publicly decent. For God's sake, I mean, you have to be a little bit better than that. Like Blade, Jason, whatever your name is, it's like that's not what Dave was talking about. You're talking about you go any road. I mean, great, I get it. You're this guy, whatever, but that's got nothing to do with the conversation. You're kind of interjecting your own wanking into that.
What conversation was that? Exactly. Didn't quite catch all of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you know name, so use it right.
Exactly.
It's right. It's right there on the screen.
Yeah, but anyway, Miklo.
Yeah.
These things are publicly proven. Some of those clubs that Dave is talking about still exist. They're historical records, so that's not an argument.
I wasn't speaking on what he's saying. I know the moonshiners and everything. I know them.
Hang on. I just want to clarify.
I do my history as well.
Look, I just want to clarify, and then I'll be done. All right? Goddamn. So what you're saying is that an oral history from somebody is just as good or just as valid or whatever as the documentation that exists.
Here's the difference between.
I say every man needs to do his own history and look things up and know it for themselves.
Listen, here's the difference between what you're saying and what I'm saying. When I say what I'm saying, I say, listen, this is what I was told. I wasn't there. This is what I've been told. And what you're saying is this is fact. This is 1000% fact, as if you were there, and you weren't, bro. You were not there. You're going off of something that somebody wrote down. Who knows? I mean, how do you know the dude from the AMA was 100% accurate?
That's a cop-out.
It's a cop-out.
Because the police wrote it down.
Yeah.
The police wrote it down.
It's a straw man argument, what you're saying right there.
No, I'm covering my ass. When I say I wasn't there, I'm going off of what somebody told me. Then that's the right way to do it. Saying,
do you mind if I address that real quick?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I understand what you're saying, man. Like, old heads be talking some crazy shit all the fucking time, and they be telling stories, and it's churched up, and it's misrepresented. And let's be honest, it was the 60s. There was a lot of fucking Red Devils, a lot of LSD. Like, people ain't gonna remember everything, right? I can't tell you how many misrepresentations of history I hear all the fucking time. Now, here's where I'm gonna ask you a question. You're taking that knowledge, right? And you've created a platform for yourself in MC for Life, which is cool. Do that, spread your message. But you're taking that history that you heard word of mouth and putting it out there. And what that's doing is that's perpetuating what that history is, whether it's accurate or inaccurate. So what I'm asking you is, don't you think that you have a responsibility as a person who's trying to represent motorcycle club history to then fact check those stories you were told? And when I'm saying fact check, I'm not saying look at a book and read what somebody else said. Because I'm gonna tell you, like, when we looked up this 1% history stuff that we did a few episodes on, this was years in the making of us combing through every article ever fucking written in like Easy Rider magazine and going through every newspaper clipping that ever mentioned certain things. So we're taking this historical record of like, this is when this person mentioned these dates and things like that. There's a lot that goes into putting in history. So I think where people like Dave get upset is he does all that work to validate these stories that a lot of people hear. And when he goes to correct the record, to be met with animosity when he's put all that work in is frustrating. So I'm asking you, don't you think that you have the responsibility when you're putting it out into public to take that extra step of verifying that information?
Okay. Can I say something? Let me say this.
Yeah, absolutely, brother.
Okay. Again, the information that we research is given to us by whoever wrote the information. I'd rather take a story from Blade, 1%er, over anything that's wrote down because he was there. Where I come from, we can go through history. History has been lying to us from day one. Facts that are wrote in books have been documented as lies from day one. We all know this. So I'm just saying, what I'm saying in general, what I'm saying is it doesn't even really matter as far as it matters to a certain point if you're gonna use this documentation to, i.e., to lock somebody up or to do whatever. But what I'm saying is 57 or 61. If I read an article that said in 1957 Blade was a 1%er, but then I talked to Blade and Blade said no, it wasn't 57. I mean, it wasn't 61, it was 57. Who the fuck you think I'm gonna believe? I'm gonna believe that the person who it was actually there. So when we go to argue, and this is, to me, it's the senseless to argue exact facts, because none of the facts are exact. You could do all the research in the world. The reporter that wrote this or the reporter that wrote that, it is what it is. As long as it perpetuates us to the next level, as far as where we're trying to go, or if it gave you what you needed, to me, now this is just my personal opinion, each and every one of you guys are whoever you say you are. And I have no reason to research or to say otherwise. It doesn't matter to me, because Professor Blade, you say you're a professor. You graduated from whatever professorship and whatever. It is what it is. As long as, for me, until you say something that said, for me to say, nah, that can't be right. So let's say you got the year wrong. You're off by a year. Who cares? My whole thing is this, and I'm gonna just say this, and I'm gonna be done, because at this point right now, it's about, to me, it sounds like this post was or this video or this whole thing was made to prove Miko a liar and not a 1%er. And again, in my bringing up and what I know and my history and my research, if a person or a club says they're a 1% club, then they're a 1% club. I'm not here to take it off their vest. And if you feel like they're not, then you take it off their vest and so be it. But the history that you guys argue between the dates, this date, that date, it's irrelevant to me. But again, that was just my 2 cents on it. Me personally, fuck what's wrote in the book. I mean, you can't believe everything that's wrote. Hell, you can't believe everything you hear. You can't believe everything you see. So who is there to say who is and who ain't? I mean, it is what it is.
Exactly. Respect.
Can I respond to No Shame?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, here's the thing. The difference, and this is what I always try to do, is try to remain humble with this type of stuff. When I write what I write and do what I do, and I think that's the difference, man, is when you come at it with, even with all that research you did, I still believe that if you were not there yourself, the way you should come at it is like, look, I wasn't there. I did a lot of fucking research. I believe this to be true, but at the end of the day, I wasn't fucking there. I think that that's how everybody should do it. And, I think that that's a big part of the reason that we're here in the first place, is because, to me, man, This is a culture of apex predators. This is a culture of men of respect. And you're not supposed to just run around with this trolling and all this disrespect, being disrespectful, trying to humiliate each other publicly and all this crazy shit. And that's why I take offense when you come on to MC for Life and this isn't fact. Are you stupid or what? Are you some kind of a dummy? That's where I take offense. It's not you calling out my history or whatever. It's the way you do it, man. And I think that it's important, and I would give Four for the Road a little advice. Maybe you guys should have a little talk and be like, look, man, this is the 1% MC world. Whether you're a 1% or not, you're going to be dealing with people that take disrespect very seriously. And, you should not be, I get the no shame thing. With the TikTok and trolling people and stuff, it's funny and everything. But at the same time, man, you're part of a major club. You should know not everybody's going to take it that way. And some people, disrespect gets taken very seriously. And that's across the board. That's when you come on to MC for Life calling out history. That's when you make videos trying to humiliate people. That shit is not a joke to everybody, So that's my point there is whether you looked it up or not, whether you did a bunch of research, you should still remain humble and say, look, I wasn't there, man, but this is what my research has told me, and that's what I always try to do is, this is what I was told. You see what I'm saying?
Let's go to Professor Blade. He's got something to say.
All right, let's consider this my wrap up here. Appreciate the advice. Don't really need it, Miklo, but it's like we're not predators in this world. Predators, we're not predators. Like that's the wrong terminology. You have to be careful with your words. Okay, we're husbands, we're fathers.
What do you call it when they come after you trying to pull your bed?
Yeah, top of the food chain, whatever you want to call it. All right, go ahead.
So well, words matter, and I'm going to caution you for your own advice when you call out people as feds and stuff like that. You're right. We do take offense. And I came straight to you about that too, because that was some bullshit that you're saying that. You don't start calling people feds without receipts. Okay? That was some straight up bullshit. Hey, I'm still talking. Okay?
Go ahead.
Okay. So, secondly, in terms of just like, how do you put this? Whether you like it or not, acceptance is part of this. All right, acceptance is part of this. You can do you, but you're saying that you got mentored by a lot of these old school clubs.
Yes, sir.
But if we go to these clubs, will they say that? Will these clubs say that? Will these people who
mentor it freeze?
No, and let's say that we've spoken to some of these clubs and we know some of these people in some of these clubs. Will they vouch for you in that aspect? Some of these clubs. So that's a question that you need to be able to answer. He's gone. It's convenient.
Yeah, I met a couple of them, matter of fact, that he's been mentored by and spoke with.
You have? Okay. And
yes,
they're currently in clubs?
I think he's
they're
back.
currently in clubs. Yes.
Right, sorry, guys.
He can speak for himself.
Yeah. Okay. So it's very, it's very easy to say old clubs and all that kind of stuff, but we see no evidence of this. So, even
man, how hard it is
that's something else there.
Anybody willing to come out on the internet from these old clubs, dude? Shit, man. I mean, it's a
they will. Or they might not come out on the internet, but they're happy to chat with you in person too.
Well, I would advise you. I'll link you up with whoever you want to get linked up with.
But let me say this. What does it matter? What does it?
I look forward to that information.
Okay, so my question: what does it matter if he has it or if again, like you just said, Blade 1%er?
It matters because he's saying that.
But listen to what I'm saying. Blade 1%er just told you it mattered and just told you it was fact. What more fact do you need?
Okay, I can address that. I can address why it matters, because there's been instances where Miklo has put things on his page, pictures with certain members of clubs and whatnot, and use those photos to kind of lend validation, which whatever, you talk to these guys, they're from a respected club. You think that's like, that should go. Okay. We've had people from those clubs reach out to us, and I can't say the name. And like I said, I'm not going to name drop it. No disrespect. And I'm not going to. Please don't take this disrespectfully, because I don't mean it disrespectfully.
Right.
They don't want their name brought up because they didn't want their name associated with the club, with your organization. And like the purpose of them contacting us was to let us know that they reached out and asked you to stop posting pictures of you with their members. And you're confused. I can give you the information on the back end, but like I said, I'm not going to put it out to everybody. But they want. What's that?
I know who you're talking about, and there's a lot of internal strife there. I'd say about half the club is on my side, and half of the club is bought into.
That's a bold claim, and there's more than one club, but that's a really bold claim.
I mean, but listen. So let me say this. Let me just say this, and this is a no defense. No, we all know that there's people in directly in. If you know 10 people, 5 of them might like you, 5 of them might not like you. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast. You feel what I'm saying? We can't control who is. For example, when I got invited to this show, I was told, "Hey man, don't fuck with none of them cats. So and so, Shane, Dave, Professor Blade." I was told all kind of shit. But again, to me, it doesn't matter because I don't know you. It doesn't have a preference in my life. But I was told again, Sel, don't do the show. It is blah 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 blah. I'm like, hey man, my man, I'm here for him. It is what it is. So at the end of the day, just like you got a phone call about don't do this, don't do that. Who obviously the picture was a real picture. He didn't Photoshop the picture. So if he didn't Photoshop the picture,
That part.
if he didn't Photoshop the picture, yes, a member of this, one of the brothers or one of the members of that club might say we don't fuck with Meek Low. But then, like you said, half the club do, half the club don't. In my arena, okay, go ahead.
I'm asking you this real quick. If the person requesting him not to post pictures with their club is a national officer in that club, can you honestly continue to post those pictures and then still say you have respect for that nation if their top representatives are asking you not to do this? See, that's where the problem comes from.
Hold on, Let me say that.
No, that was the end of my. That's the end of my thought.
But let me say this. No, Shane. Let me say this. Again, you heard what I just. I was told that all of y'all is fucked up. Period. That's just real shit. That's real shit. I was told by reputable people that I consider to be reputable, national presidents of major 1% clubs, the whole 9 yards. Say, don't fuck with no Shane, don't fuck with Dave, don't fuck with Professor Blade. I was told that, but I'm still here, making my own opinion, making my own decisions, being my own man. So again, what I'm telling you is, in my opinion, you would have an argument if you could prove that the picture he took was Photoshopped. If the picture he took was Photoshopped, then yeah, Meek Low used a piece of shit.
You're comparing apples to oranges, though. You're talking about somebody warning you not to come associate with me. I'm talking about a person asking him specifically, do not post representations of my club's image. This is what I represent. If I told you don't post pictures of me and my family, and you went and posted pictures of me and my family, that's a disrespect to me. So let's take this back to the club situation.
The only reason he did that is because y'all got in his ear to begin with. The guys,
there's no need to get in his ear. I promise you that.
Not met me.
There's no need to get in his fucking ear.
Go to their events all the fuck.
I mean, again.
Go ahead. No, did you freeze again?
I mean, we don't have that kind of authority or reach to be getting into people's ears and stuff like that. I'm sorry, but that's a bullshit argument there.
But y'all do put your own narratives and everything else that has no fact behind it, just like the one was posted to me today about the 3% shit, right?
What's that? What?
No, that is fact because you said that you were in a 3% club. I mean, that's not.
But it opens up a book for everybody to sit there and fucking downgrade and sit there and make their opinion about it, which I don't give a shit what they think. If they come talk to me, I tell them exactly what it is.
Welcome to the internet, bro. I hook up with I tell stories all the time on the podcast that are fucking embarrassing. If you don't like it, don't put it out there.
It's not embarrassing to me. I love my family. I love my brothers, and they'll fucking stand behind me 100%.
Well, just like the joke was made about my HNIC. Just like the joke was made about my HNIC. I don't give a fuck.
That's right.
Yeah,
I could care less. I am the HNIC of my organization, so it just is what the fuck it is.
I want to respond to what No Shame was saying.
But they start off with
Go ahead.
disrespect first. That's what I'm saying.
All right, so this thing with the national secretary saying I don't want you in those pictures, you got to understand that was a chain of events that was caused by a member of Four for the Road going to that national secretary and saying, "Hey, Miklo's lying. He's not even in Mexico."
What
That's
national
all
secretary?
tied together. That's all tied together. That's how that happened. He's one of the only members of that club that I've never met in person. That's how that happened. The Four for the Road got in his ear and said, "Hey, man, you letting that Miklo use your club to boost his own image and all this shit." He hits up the dudes I took the pictures with and says, "Man, you make him take those pictures down." They hit me up. They're like, "Man, this fucking guy, man." And a lot of the pictures I did take down. But some of the pictures, you know, I mean, if I'm with somebody I consider my brother and he takes a picture with me and he says, "Man, I don't give a fuck what anybody says. You're my brother. Post that shit." Then what the fuck do I care if somebody from Four for the Road has something out against me? I don't know him. You know, I've been trying to talk to him for years. He won't talk to me, you know, but I'm
what
not
does
going to
that tell
let
you?
that get me fucked up. If I got a picture with my brother and my brother says it's cool to fucking post it, then hey, that is what it is, you know? And that's the internal strife I'm talking about. And it's not that I don't respect the club or whatever, but if the dude won't even take the time to get to know me and talk to me, and people in his own damn club are saying, you know, "Hey, man, I don't give a fuck. Post that shit." Then what the
So
fuck?
you're talking. I just got permission from the individual that you're talking about, and
All
he
right.
says to let you know that he's on Four for the Road staff. So you're talking about this guy, Four for the Road's getting into somebody's ear, and we haven't said this before because it wasn't
I
something that
know
we
he's
could say,
on
but he
Four for
just
the
now
Road
told me he could say
staff.
that. So Four
I
for the
know
Road
that.
is getting in somebody's ear. Okay, so you know that. So you're twisting a narrative to say Four for the Road
I
is honey
apologize.
fucking
I
pouring honey in
apologize.
somebody's ear.
I apologize. I have a habit of using Four for the Road as a blanket term. You're right.
Not to mention
You're
the fact that, okay, we don't have that kind, nobody has that kind of reach. An organization as large as the one that you're talking about. How
Yeah,
the
but
hell are we gonna be
he's
able
the
to
only
affect
one
them
that
like
had a
that?
problem. He's the only one that had a problem, and the only reason he had a problem is because four people.
So somebody
from
of that rank is the only problem in that whole nation.
So he national secretary. Well, I'm up there with the national VP, who is in half the pictures with me. I mean,
Hang on, wait.
Whoa,
Hang on. Wait.
You're so fucking wrong. You're like, oh man, I wish I could just put everybody's business out there. But you are lying. You are lying.
not
You are
true.
not there with the national VP. I promise you that.
You are
Oh
not.
my fucking god. Okay, carry on. Whatever.
Just
I'm not going to name drop. I'm not going
just
to
real
name
quick,
drop.
just
I
real
don't know
quick.
who the current national VP
We don't
is,
need to-
but
this
at that
is-
time,
Okay, this is one of
Just
those
real quick.
situations.
Hang on,
Just real
everybody. Hey, everybody, hard stop.
Oh, shit.
Everybody, hard. This is
Oh, no.
ridiculous.
Pause,
We went over it.
pausing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Stop.
Pause.
All right, hey,
Stop.
I'm
We went over-
like 5 seconds away from muting everybody. All right, it's getting heated.
All
Right, we came on here for a gentlemanly
You're right.
discussion. Okay, so we're gonna take a breath. All right, we're gonna start getting respectful. Okay, and with that, anybody got any questions for the admin guy?
No,
I think
Let's
we're,
just-
we're
we've been
already
at-
past
hey,
an hour. Do
hey,
we
no,
want
we've been at-
to just do our closing statements?
let's just we've been at an hour. Everybody got to say their piece. These three that had some really good points. We had some good points. Let's just cut it off and be done with this.
I think that is a fair request. So with that, I'm going to. Anybody got any last little?
well, I
Hoorah.
feel like
I got
we
one for you.
really- I feel like the point of the whole thing wasn't really met. I mean, all we did was sit here and go back and forth with each other. I mean, what's the end game here? What's the middle
was it.
ground? Is
That was
there
it.
any middle ground?
No,
the end game was to prove you. The end game was to
No.
prove that you're a liar and that
Right.
you're not a 1%er.
Right.
Well,
right,
look. You asked
Yeah,
a
that's
question,
exactly what it
and
was. All I
I'll
talked
answer
about.
the question for you. Because you asked, is there any middle ground? I'll concede that there is some middle ground. There are things that you say on MC for Life that I think are accurate things. You talk about certain things that need to change in the culture. I don't disagree with you. I think what needs to happen is you have this idea that you think that all Four for the Road does is preach this old, like antiquated protocol shit. And that's not what we do. I think you have a bad representation of the message that we put out there. And maybe we have a bad representation of the message you put out there. So I think everybody owes it to themselves to kind of give everybody a fair shot. But that doesn't change the fact that there are misrepresentations that you're still holding on to. And I'm answering your question, so I'm not going to like take this away from you. I'll let you continue to talk because I'm going to have my chance to say what I need to say to close this up as well. But you asked a question, so I'm answering it. I can't. You're muted.
Hold on, Michael. Hold on. Hey, so full disclosure, I'm muting everybody, right? So we can go ahead and wrap this up. Michael, I unmuted you, so feel free to have your response.
I feel that
you're going to close out.
I feel that is very fair. No shame. I mean, that's all I've ever asked for, man, is just a little bit of respect when we talk about these things. If we can have a little respect when we have these conversations, we can get far, man. You know, Professor Blade, thank you for putting this together. You being respectful is why this happened in the first place, because it never would have happened had you not come on there and spoke to me respectfully as you did. Somebody from Four for the Road came on to MC for Life, was very respectful and said, hey, why don't we talk about this on the debate? And I said, hey, man, you've been nothing but respectful with me. Let's do it. So I thank you for that. And I thank you, No Shame, for being very respectful on here. And, you know, I agree. You're right. And like I said, man, it's difficult with the Four for the Road thing. If there's 11 of you, that's 11 guys, 11 personalities. It's so easy to throw it all in as Four for the Road. If one guy does something under the name Four for the Road, it's so easy for people to just say Four for the Road did this, Four for the Road did that. You know, so that's something that maybe should get taken into consideration. That's just my personal opinion. So I'm grateful for what you said there. No shame. I'm grateful that you put this together, Professor Blade. Thank you, my brothers. Thank you, Big Cell and Blade and Bear, for coming on here. I love y'all. And yeah, I guess that wraps it up then.
All right. Well, that's it for this shit show, everybody.
Wait, I thought everybody got a chance to say something.
Are we going to give everybody? No, I thought we weren't.
You can wrap it up. That's fine.
I'm wrapping it up. Here we go. All right. I mean it this time. Thanks for joining the shit show, everybody. I think this was definitely an interesting segment of Four for the Road. I've been getting a bunch of texts and reading the comments. This is I'm sure it was as entertaining for everybody else as it was for me. I had a great time moderating this. I don't even know I was brought on staff for this one, actually, because nobody followed my fucking rules. But I appreciate you guys for trying. You guys are amazing. I really appreciate all fucking 500 and fucking something of y'all that were that joined in for this. I got a lot to say, but you know, I'm gonna be a good little sailor and I'm gonna shut my fucking mouth because I was told to. That was my little bit for it, for having to listen to all this bullshit. So y'all have a great one.